Welcome back, and thanks so much for checking out our updates on the media tour this year, presented by Sprint and hosted by Charlotte Motor Speedway. Before we look forward, we've got to look back to the last event of Day 2, which was a reception hosted by Red Bull Racing. You talk about a group that's undergoing changes, this is one of them. Brian Vickers, great to see him back in the cockpit of his race car. And, of course, Casey Kane coming on board for a one-year stint before he joins forces with Hendrick Motorsports.
It's different than some situations, I guess, or than most situations, but it's kind of what we have, and Red Bull was really excited about it. I was really excited about it, and Kenny Francis and the team. So to me, it's a good thing. You know, I think it's going to be just fine. And 1 year, we'll do all we can to do it right.
I think so. I do believe that the experience has made me a better person, and therefore I think that translates on the racetrack. The person you are, the personality you have is always going to translate to your driving style. I definitely I want to use this experience as an opportunity to reach people, and whether it's cloud awareness or different things. Do I want to be defined by it? No, but ultimately you're defined by your actions. You're defined by what happens to you. You're defined by a lot of things, and this is going to be one of them.
Now it's time for me to hand the baton off to my good friend Brad Gilley to tell you what else happens on Day 3 of the Sprint Media Tour.
Thank you, Doug. Our first stop Wednesday morning was Furniture Row Racing with driver Regan Smith and a West Coast-based team trying to keep up with the big boys on the East Coast.
We're capable of running top 10 right now. It's a matter of putting the pieces of the puzzle together. There's probably 4 races at the end of the year where I felt like we had the speed to be a top 10 team, and just different circumstances, whether it was a bad timed caution or a bad pit stop or something like that, kept us from that. So our expectations are probably higher than what most people would even have for us, because we feel like we're that strong of a race team.
Next up is Richard Petty Motorsports, who had several struggles at the end of the 2010 racing season, but now in 2011, they're out of the ashes, they're back, and they've got 2 top-shelf drivers with A.J. Allmendinger and Marcus Ambrose ready to lead the way for this Ford team.
He has got so much leverage, so much stature, so much credibility in America. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen, and such a humble man to get it done. It was just it was incredible story, and I'm pleased that I was on the inside to experience it, because I don't think anybody else in NASCAR could have pulled it back together.
When we hit everything right, we can go win one of these races. My goal this year is to make it to we have a lot more opportunity. It's so hard to win one of these races. You look at guys like Jimmy and Denny, they make it look too easy at times, but it's really hard to win one of these races. So the best thing we can do is get good enough that we're putting ourselves in that position every week.
Next up is a stop at Hendrick Motorsports with 4 of NASCAR's most popular drivers, including the 5-time and defending Sprint Cup Series champion, Jimmy Johnson.
I think that sports fans in general have really appreciated what we have done for the last 5 years. I'd say I noticed a big change the 3rd year when I tied Cale, another big step with the 4th, and then I'm not sure I've really experienced most of the 5th yet, but what I've seen so far, it's been great. It's been a little different. Much more interaction, recognition, things like that. So, very proud and happy to be a part of it.
This is definitely probably the biggest change I've been a part of, aside from my move to Hendrick initially. I'm pretty excited. We've made a few opportunities at testing and gotten to know each other well. Me and Stevie and the entire new team that I'm part of, and I'm just trying to fit in well. And without having that type of success for the last couple of years, to me that's the real test of what drives you and how important it is for you to be competitive and win races. And I would say that right now, because of those challenges, I'm more driven today than I ever have been. And I also know that, I don't have 15 or 20 years of racing still left ahead of me. And, I want to take advantage of every opportunity that comes our way.
Well, that about wraps things up for today. Wrapping up the tour tomorrow, we're going to have NASCAR's big announcement for you, including stops at Joe Gibbs Racing and Roush Fenway Racing. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Brad Gilley.